Hi, my name is Sharon Fritchie. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about research-based strategies to assist in teaching students with ADD and ADHD. I'd like to start with a three-pronged strategy. This is a very in-depth way of looking at adjusting the classroom to meet the needs of students with ADD and ADHD. And this research that was conducted by the U.S. Department of Education and the American Institute for Research back in 2004 are already kind of really being implemented and encouraged in classrooms today. So a lot of this, some of you may already be aware of, but if you really want to know more of the details of this study, because this is just a quick glimpse and a quick overview, I highly recommend looking up at the resources that I have on the last slide to get a better understanding of exactly how this three-pronged strategy works. Let's start with the academic instruction. The way the teacher presents the lesson has a lot to say in how a student's going to be involved in the lesson. By giving a quick overview and letting the student know what to expect, having them prepare them, get out the materials necessary to work through the lesson, are little details that'll help the lesson go a lot smoother for a student with ADD and ADHD. The way you conduct the lesson, encouraging the student to be involved in the lesson, encouraging using little cues to help them stay on task, maybe walk by them so that they straighten up a little bit or stop chit-chatting with their neighbor. If they tend to use drawing as a distraction, maybe place your hand on their desk so that they realize that you're right there, you're aware, and they need to get back on task. Little cues like that that aren't quite obvious, that doesn't call out their name, are very helpful ways to keep a student with ADD and ADHD involved in the lesson. Concluding the lesson, a lot of time, if you give the students a 5-minute warning, you know what, we're going to wrap this up in the next 5 or 10 minutes, helps them go, oh no, I haven't really done that much. Let me get started on this and get going here so that I can have something done at the end or in the next few minutes. Individualizing instruction practices. Sometimes when you are giving a lesson or presenting a lesson to the class and giving the initial instructions, they're broad, and a lot of the students will be fine and can move on. But sometimes it'll take that little extra push to walk by your student's desk and say, you know what, let's break this down a little bit. First, let's do this part of the page, or first underline whatever this word is that you're looking for, and break it down just a little bit so that the whole chunk doesn't just sit there and overwhelm them. They can get focused on the little tasks and get the project done. Using graphic organizers is another way to help students stay on task. The organization studies skills, or having a little checklist on the desk. Did I pay attention this time? Did I work through the lesson with the teacher? Did I finish with it when everyone else did? Helps them realize that they're able to stay on task. And there's a ton of other ideas offered in the article that I read on this, and so I would highly recommend taking a quick peek at it and seeing what else you can do that you may or may not already be doing. The second step is the effective behavioral intervention techniques. And one of their big things, really, they say in here is just praise. Praise the student for appropriate behavior so that they know exactly what it is that you're looking for in them. Make sure you give the praise immediately so they know what it is that they're doing good. Vary your statements so that it doesn't become lost in its value. Losing its value is an easy way by just repeating the statement over and over again, by saying the same generic thing all the time. It doesn't really mean anything to them after a little while. And then be consistent and sincere. Look like you truly mean what it is you're praising them for so that they can really be encouraged and excited to keep trying and keep moving on. The last leg of the three-pronged strategy is the classroom accommodations. Sometimes special seating arrangements in the room really will help a student with ADD and ADHD stay focused. If you have them sit closer to you, that might help. They may be frustrated sitting closer to you, so maybe moving them over to a peer model to mimic a little bit will be a better choice. It really depends on the student. You have to kind of figure that out as you guys work together. And instructional tools in the physical learning environment. A lot of times students can be distracted by the bright room, so maybe dimming the lights would help them. Use of timers. All right, Johnny, you only have 5 minutes to finish this worksheet, and put a little timer on his desk so they can see, and it encourages them to stay focused and kind of beat the clock a little bit. Little techniques are like this are very helpful in keeping them on task. Another thing to look at would be behavior-specific praise. This kind of praise goes a long way when helping a student, but if you make it specific, they know exactly what it is you're expecting of them the next time, or exactly what it is that they did right that got your attention. Just simply saying nice job doesn't always cut it. Saying nice job completing that worksheet will help them realize that you really were excited that they finished that worksheet, and it makes them feel like a rock star. It makes them feel like superheroes to know that they just pleased the teacher. And it goes with any kind of praise. If you change something as simple as awesome to say awesome effort, you turn this in on time, it makes them feel excited that they put in that extra mile to get the job done. So just making sure your praise is very specific. One of the other things I'd like to look at is the token economy. The token economy uses positive reinforcers to target behavior change. Students can visualize their progress. It's really helpful when they can see where it is that they're going. And students can accept the work for delayed reinforcement. They know that they're not going to get praised right away because they're working towards a bigger goal. So they already is anticipated. Students will learn to regulate their own behavior, which is huge for them. It's a big step in their learning for life. They need to learn to control themselves. And that's kind of what your goal would be anyway, is to see them control that themselves without you constantly hovering. And students, which is the self-monitoring skill that students will have. Here are two charts that can be used as reward charts. You can make your own up. I found these two on the internet. The one on the left could be something you create yourself or print from the internet. It's a free source. The one on the right is something you'd probably purchase in an educational store or from other source like that, so that you could show them. It really depends upon your student and your classroom budget. A few things you should consider when using this strategy is discuss with the student the exact behavior that you're looking to change. Is it that they need to stay on task? Is it that they need to stay at their seat? Is it they need to look like they're listening when you're teaching the lesson? So talk with your student and figure out what that target behavior is so that you guys can work together to fix a specific behavior. And then work to create a menu of reinforcers for them. If you are going to reinforce a specific behavior, what you do needs to be interesting to that child. So you talk to the child of what they think would be a good reinforcer. Do they want a lollipop at the end of the week? Do they want extra recess time? Would it work to do something like that? Or are they appeased by something simple as earning pencils or erasers or a notebook, a new set of crayons? What is it that's going to appease your student to get this behavior out of them? Decide on how many reinforcers it takes to reach each prize level. So Sally needs to earn 3 stickers to get a pencil, or she needs to earn 5 stickers to get a pencil. And every time she earns a pencil, 2 of you will make note of it, and she has to earn 3 pencils to get that cool packet of erasers. Just so you make them work towards something bigger each time, but yet it's still kept small. So if she earns 5 stickers, she gets a pencil. She earns 2 or 3 pencils, she gets the big packet of stickers. She earns the big packet of erasers. If she earns the packet of erasers, it moves on to she's earned recess time for the class. So just keep the rewards to where there is still kind of an incentive, and sometimes you may need to adjust the awards. She may be tired of earning stickers. It's just something that you're going to have to work with your student to figure out what works best. And then the tokens, the stickers work for your child? Does it work to give them pennies? Does it work? What is it that's going to motivate them is really what you need to look for. And that will be up to you and your student. Another method, and this goes mainly for probably children that just aren't staying in control. Some of these other methods have been tried, it's just not working, they're just not interesting. But this method is called check, connect, and expect. This method starts with a morning check-in. The student will arrive at school and they'll meet with a teacher that's not the classroom teacher. They'll meet with a special education teacher, maybe even an office staff member, just someone to check in with, and they'll have a little worksheet with them that kind of helps them monitor their behavior. You'll give them a fresh worksheet, or the teacher will give them a fresh worksheet in the morning. They'll go over that worksheet and explain to them the different things that their goals for the day. Is it to stay in my classroom? Is it not to shout out in the classroom? Whatever it is that you guys are trying to target that day or that week, or what behavior you're trying to control, and that'll be on there and review with their check-in person. From the check-in person, you're going to move over to the regular teacher feedback. The student will take this worksheet with them throughout the day, whether they're in their specials classes or whether in the general education classroom or at the lunchroom. They'll have this worksheet with them, And the teacher can provide feedback, mark on there, yes, this child was able to control their behavior in my room today, or at this moment, or these specific times, or they weren't. And you can use different methods depending upon the age of your child. If it's a younger child, smiley faces would work. Whether it's a happy face or sad face would say whether or not they achieved the goal in that room. And then, or you can use check marks or stars. And from the regular teacher feedback, we reach the end of the day where they go to the same person they checked in with, and they go to their checkout time. And when they go to check out, they're going to look and see, did this student achieve? What do they need to work on? What did they do really great? And they're going to make notes and talk about a little bit on how to improve, or lots of praise for a day well done. And then the note will go home to the parents, or the parents will be able to give feedback, see how the student did that day, and see how their student improved, or what they need to work on, encourage behaviors or discourage behaviors, and have some discussion at home. So it's a full circle. And from feedback, they'll go back to check in the next morning. And this this method is just a really neat method because it really involves everyone in knowing that this student is really trying, and the effort will show on the different worksheets that they turn in. So it's one of the reasons why I like this method, but this is something that is kind of more towards the last line of defense if a student still is not able to be controlled by some other methods in the classroom. I appreciate you listening to what I have shown you, and here's a list of the resources that I used. So if you are interested in looking up any more or reading any more in depth about any of these strategies, you're able to do so. Thank you for listening.